The hardest part to me is somebody has to be McDonald's, somebody has to be Outback, and somebody has to be your five-star restaurant. And you need to know which one you are. All three of those businesses make a lot of money, and you would love to own all of them. Don't always think you need to own a five-star business. I have regular people that, I want to build a nightclub. Well, it's so long for your property. What ego thing is driving you to say, I need a nightclub? None of your customers want that. Just build them their little food court, build them this. Have a great players club program, really focus in on taking care of your customers, and they're going to be as happy as can be. Just know your customer, know who you are, and deliver it. We have great 4-star, 3-star properties in Las Vegas that deliver unbelievable experience.
Welcome to Harpinion. Here we explore the intersection of politics, finance, and the gaming industry, and what that means for how the industry has been shaped and is being shaped. Every conversation brings its own experiences, its own challenges, and its own opinions. People have a lot to say in this industry with regards to what happened, how it happened, and how we got to where we are today, and what it will take to where we want to go tomorrow. Now that all said, let's dive into it.
I really look forward to having this conversation with you. You have, been around the world, been in the industry for a very long time, and you've done remarkable things. So how did you get into the industry, and how did you specialize so much into the gaming?
Well, thank you first off for having me here. I was born and raised in New York. I have a great education at Pratt Institute in New York, but it's a very old-fashioned kind of architectural education. So I started working in New York, and I wasn't overly excited about the architectural world I was doing. It was a very tight world. And I used to go down to Atlantic City. At the time, Atlantic City and Vegas were the only places that had gaming. And I went to Vegas, and that was it. I was bitten completely. I love the energy of casinos. And I spent the next 30 years of my life working in this field. I absolutely love the energy of it. I moved to Las Vegas. I've been out there over 30 years, started a company there. Many years ago now, it's been over 20 years, when Macau was starting to really come up and America had a little bit of a recession. I came over here and started an office with a partner of mine in 2008. Worked here for over 10 or 11 years, and then sold the company to him. We did spectacular things together, worked in all of the casinos here.
So some examples of the casinos that you did, of the jobs that you did, because on one side, is it more the gaming side, the casino side, or is it more the entertainment side?
It's a great story. Like in America, I do anything and everything you'll find inside of a casino. I just finished Fontainebleau, was $300 million worth of high roller suites. Doing the 7,000 rooms at the Venetian in Las Vegas. I've done convention centers, ballrooms, meeting rooms, restaurants, lounges, bars, nightclubs, everything you could find inside of a casino.
Inside the integrated
inside of a large integrated resort. So it's great. I do a lot of master planning. I do a lot of architecture. Out here, we started out doing only casino space. And obviously, we had to learn it's very different here with, at the time, Junkets. We did so many junket rooms at MGM and City of Dreams, and then we ended up working with the junket operators themselves. So we did some beautiful rooms, which are way over the top, as you know. The design here is really pretty spectacular, and the money we get to spend, we're very blessed and get to really put together some nice projects. We branched out and did some other projects after that. But I come in and do a lot of master planning on projects all over the world, where they'll have a famous architect, but it'll have a condo tower, a hotel tower, a casino, and all of the mixing of the traffic, front of house and back house. None of them, they have a hard time working through that. So I end up master planning a lot of those properties.
And master planning means you're not just looking at, let's say, creating a very nice restaurant, creating a very nice, let's say, bar, entertainment areas, etc. But how do you make it all come together?
And how do you make the customer come together, the service, the operations, how they never cross paths? Many of these are 5-star resorts, and you never see the service, and that's the goal. I don't see truck bays. I don't see people moving carts. It's always done in a way that 5-star service is delivered.
And not moving the carts. I mean, we all know that, you sleep on a particular floor and there are certain elevators in the back, you have different doors, and then, that's where the carts come from, in and out, etc. But that's, on the floor. You can still see a cart on the floor. How does that work in the casino space? A lot of people don't realize how many employees you have on the floor. And where do they go? Where do they go to the restaurant? Where do they have their breaks? Where do they have their food? Where how are they taken care of? Try to explain how you can, visualize that sitting, at home listening to this podcast.
Yeah, the most interesting thing is most people design hotels for a living. They're 150 room hotels.
Right.
We're in the Londoner here
Yes.
in Macau.
Yes.
There's 5,000 rooms here.
Yes.
The amount of product that you have to move in a place like this is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And in America, they're always like, well, why is it so expensive? Well, the warehouse is there and it's a 15-minute walk to get to your restaurant.
Right.
Or it's a 20-minute walk and everything else to get to the hotel room. So all of that planning, the warehousing, the employees, moving employees around where their break rooms are, where their dining rooms are,
Yeah.
they could be walking 10 minutes of their break, just walking to their dining rooms. So you try to really make that stuff a little bit tighter and a little bit more efficient. It all starts with happy employees. You got to make sure your employees are happy and then they'll treat your customers well.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of focusing in on that and trying to tell the clients that I have that we really need to make sure that this is going to be seamless
Right.
and that you can move food, move product, move whatever around the property in a way that it's easier.
And most of the time, a lot of that is underneath the casino.
Underneath the casino floor, above the casino floor, I mean, we put stuff in every nook and cranny you could find.
Wow.
But warehousing and movement is a big deal.
Because like a property of, let's say, the Londoner, which is part of Sands, which is part of the Venetian, they have how many employees? 14,000?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's some kind,
It's-
14,000 employees. Unimaginable.
Unimaginable.
How, I mean, just the parking for them, just, getting to the property,
Yeah.
getting changed, right? Because they change the property, right?
Oh,
And then,
absolutely.
they just gradually.
All have to go through, they all got to hit a time clock first.
Right.
And then they got to go to uniforms. They go to their locker rooms. And it's just that whole process. And then, having their dining and everything else. It's pretty amazing the numbers you're talking about. That's the thing. Even in America, you'll have 6,000 to 7,000 employees on property of that size.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy.
So if we start talking about where the opportunities lie, we have Macau right now here. Macau is it will maybe see some expansion, but it's expansion within the existing concessionaire. So they might build another tower, they might build, Galaxy is now building its, I think, fourth expansion, as they call it, etc. And Galaxy, for anybody watching this, it's just amazing as a property, to take a look at, because it's from a Western perspective, especially, it is unrivaled. It is very special and it feels very Eastern.
It's a great property also because they have 3-star experiences there and then 5-star plus. The hotel brands are bringing in Capella, Raffles, spectacular restaurants that are unbelievable. And they'll have a wonderful food court that, a lesser player is going to have. Another thing about master planning, a thing that I always try to preach about is separation of customer.
Right.
You have high rollers that never want to see somebody else. They want to be in their 5-star world. They don't want to see a 3 or 4-star customer.
Right.
You and I are going to go to these properties. We're going to go to a restaurant. We're going to drink, and we're going to eat. We live in a different world than the gaming customer. So it's all so much about aspiration, voyeurism, and as a gambler, trying to get to the next level and get the next perks. So,
Voyeurism. Explain.
people watching. Just unbelievable, love open restaurants that open to casinos or open to the mall where you just get to watch the people walk around. And
that's part of the experience.
It's part of the experience. And then to be able to look into one of those fine dining establishments and say, hopefully one day I can get a little older, get a little more money and eat in that restaurant. It's a big part of what you do. It's a real big part of casino design.
So beyond Macau, what let's say are some of your favorite places?
We worked we worked in Jeju. My former company worked in Hoi An.
So Jeju is one of the South Korean islands where gaming is allowed, not for locals, correct?
Not for locals.
Not for locals. So that's pure tourism. So they thrive on the Chinese and the Japanese customers and the players that come there.
And age is a little difficult. Even in Macau, the government is somewhat in charge of the tap and how many people can come and go, how easy it is to travel to.
This is kind of important. So the government in China keeps tab on who gets to come to Macau and how often,
through visa,
and if at all, right? Through the visa, even for their own citizens. So despite the fact that Macau is part of China, it is not open for every Chinese to just come to Macau as often as they want to be, right?
You can't freely move as much as you can in other countries, and they can also limit your visas to go to Vietnam, to go to America or a Jeju.
Right.
If they feel that you're going there to gamble or doing some other things, they might look at it a little bit closer. People are being very private about how they travel, what kind of money they're moving, so it's a little more complicated.
Yeah. And that's interesting. So again, that is part of the story of how to build a property, right? Because I mean, often, you think, I build it and it will come.
Not so easy. You need an excuse, like we talked about building resorts in big cities. America, Australia, my kid might go there, so I'll have a reason, an excuse to go there. I'll put something on the beach. It's an excuse to take my family to a property that's on the beach, and then maybe hopefully I can break away and gamble a little bit. So you have to have different reasons to get them there, and it's not so easy. The freedom of movement is not so easy.
So what did you do in Hoi An? Hoi An is Vietnam. This property was originally started by a large junket operator, and then it was, what is it now? It's taken over by another company, I believe.
Yeah, it's taken over by another company. My former partner that I used to work on, did a lot of work there. He master planned the property, and then he designed the casino.
All right.
So very popular, beautiful place. Hoi An is an unbelievably beautiful city. I mean, that is a special place. Yeah. One of my most favorite places. So again, I think there's a great reason to go there and everything else. It's very close to Da Nang airport, so it's not that hard to get there. And Vietnam's a very special place. The service and the people are really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
interesting. Again, if we start looking at Asia, we have properties in Singapore, Macau, South Korea, now Japan coming up, and the Philippines. What is next, or where are we going to be looking at? Because the integrated resorts are such a unique thing.
Yeah.
What I always, like to tell people, or I often show it to people, is I take the Google map, and then what I do is I basically focus in on, let's say, a country, and then I look at the green highways in a country. Now, when you go to Europe, you see many green highways. You go to America, you see quite a few green highways, especially around New York, etc. Density, of course, California. But when you do that in Asia, you only see it in Hong Kong, Singapore. Obviously, China has a lot of highways, but the different types of highways differently qualified because of the fact that you can't speed, or it's highly controlled with regards to how people drive. They're huge roads, they're highways, but the on and off ramping, etc., is much easier in China many times, etc. Which is really interesting then to determine as to where people go for a short holiday, because there isn't enough infrastructure. Right? You have to fly somewhere. You have to basically plan really for it. And you have to have a few days. And again, we all know that the Asians work very hard and have less holidays. So as a result, not that many travel that easily, etc. So how do you look at all of this with regards to, when you have, let's say a client that comes to you and basically says, I'm going to do this great resort, and they will come. Will they come, right?
I think it's really interesting. What are you trying to sell? So in Macau, it's very gaming centric, and they spent a tremendous amount of effort to boost the non-gaming spend with different attractions and the malls and everything. And they're doing the best they can. And it's still a very young market. Veer off for a second and look at Las Vegas. It was 80-90% gaming revenue at one point. Now it's 80% non-gaming revenue, or 70% non-gaming revenue. Singapore is an unbelievable market where, yes, it makes a lot of gaming revenue, but that place is in the fabric of that country. You get married there, you have huge weddings, their meeting room space is enormous. It really is doing a great job, boosting everything up. And it's probably one of the best private-public partnerships when you look at the surrounding area of what Singapore became. I think the next gem will probably be Japan, because you're in Osaka. It's an enormous city. I think they'll design a casino and resort in IR that attracts a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. And it'll probably attract some international as well. So I think it'll do great. When you start to think of these other places, it gets a little more complicated. As you know, we were speaking before, I can come here and there's an enormous resort with 5,000 rooms. There's probably only one bar worth going to. So it's a little weird versus in America or Singapore. There's a lot of different places you'd want to go. And exactly. So some of these new markets, what am I selling? How am I going to make money here? And you got to look at it a little bit closer. And those questions become a little bit harder in some of those other places. Thailand has been looked at. Hopefully that comes back. I think they could do a really wonderful job there. Thailand's a pretty...
Yeah, I want to spend more time on Thailand, but before we go there, when I start thinking about, for example, South Korea, which I didn't mention prior, you know, there are casinos in South Korea, but there's only one for the locals, and everything else is for, you know, tourists only. Yeah, massive properties, integrated resorts, billions of dollars spent, and no South Korean can effectively gamble. They can go there, they can enjoy the entertainment, they can enjoy, let's say, the mall, they can enjoy, you know, let's say the food and beverage, the arena, different concerts, but they cannot gamble.
They can't gamble. It's an hour outside of town. I have malls in Seoul that are spectacular. I have theaters and events in Seoul. So it's a little harder to get somebody out there to do that when you're not giving them a little bit of everything.
Right.
And you say that you can't gamble, which I understand, of course, but you have 3 or 4 restaurants that are within the casino that you would want to be visiting and enjoying, and you really can't. So when it's not completely open, it throws a lot off.
Yeah, exactly. That makes it difficult to plan.
And the tying in of restaurants and entertainment directly into the casino is a big part of it. You design a restaurant in a mall versus a restaurant in a casino. Those are 2 different things. I need to keep your energy level high. I can't have you go to that restaurant, come down, lose your energy, and feel zen-like. I need your heartbeat to stay a little bit elevated.
Yeah.
And then get you back.
But that's really what, you know, the excitement is all about, right? If I want to go on a holiday, I want to get somewhat excited. I mean, some people say, like, okay, I'm going to go on a holiday because I'm burned out or because I feel like, you know, I need to relax. Obviously, that's fine. They go to the beach. They have a different type of holiday. They take a little city holiday, whatever they get. But the city holiday gets you more excited again. So they get you upbeat again, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, I talked to you before about voyeurism. You're like, well, what do you mean by voyeurism? Well, I want to eat quickly. I'm going to get off the gaming floor. I'm going to go to the noodle bar right over here. It's completely open to casino.
Yeah.
I'm looking around. I'm seeing the action, and my heart rate and my excitement level is still elevated.
Yeah.
So I'll eat real quickly and run back out on the floor.
Right.
It was always fun to me. I'd go to some of these noodle bars. Some of them have tremendous reputations. So me and my Western friends would sit there for an hour and a half, and we're eating and trying every dish.
Right.
These people are coming in there for 15 minutes, eating as quickly as possible, as food shooting everywhere, and they're running right back out there on the gaming floor. So, you know, it's all about keeping your heart rate up and the motive of wanting to gamble.
So now let's talk about Thailand. Thailand is fascinating to me because of the fact that it is the one country that I think in Asia that they draw most tourists. I think if you look at it from an international perspective.
One city in the world.
And you know, Bangkok is an unbelievable city, extremely exciting in many different ways. There's something to be found for everyone, and very high quality hotels, very high quality, let's say restaurants, entertainment. It's just amazing. No good. So the Thai basically said, no, we don't want to continue. But then the government started to, change its mind. And basically, obviously the king supported it because he understood that the casinos will draw, a more elevated, more, let's say wealthy clientele as well. And that's good for Thailand in order to, basically bring that to the country. When I started looking at Thailand and, the idea of a integrated resort, having 5 integrated resorts throughout the country, but let's focus on the Bangkok one. That must be such an incredible opportunity, not just from a, business perspective, looking at it as a, potential owner, as a potential business that you could have alongside of it, because once you have an integrated resort, suddenly everything else will pop out around, pop around the area as you try and build it up. How would you go about telling the Thai people with your experience of, what it's going to draw, how it's going to affect them and how it's going to, influence their environment?
I think they need to understand on a bigger scale, when we say casino, we mean integrated resort.
Yes.
And a casino, in a percentage basis, could be 5 to 10% of the entire square footage. It's really a very small offering.
Right.
And Bangkok, I was just there last week, it blows me away. I went to the Louis Vuitton Museum.
Yeah.
And you're like, of all the places they would do that, they did it in Bangkok. And it's spectacular. Dior has a cafe there with some of the most beautiful pastries I've ever seen. It must be the capital of rooftop bars.
Yeah.
The cafes, they're so unique. The nightclubs, things I've never seen before. Right. the malls are great. The Paragon Mall Food Hall is 10 years ahead of anything I've seen in America. 10 years, easy. And has been redone 3 times. It's just an incredible place with incredible offerings. And I think people need to understand that the casino developers will bring those offerings into one place.
Right.
So I don't have to jump from neighborhood to neighborhood. As much as I love Thailand, getting around Thailand is not as easy as it used to be with traffic and everything else. And if you're not close to the train lines, it's a little difficult. You can be problematic getting around the city. So people need to understand I'm going to one place.
Yeah.
It'll have rooftop bars. It'll have great nightclubs. It'll have amazing malls. And the food and beverage scene will be wonderful. And like you said, Thailand's food and beverage sometimes it's unique and you've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And other times it's Michelin star.
Right.
Like nothing. Just like that. And really amazing. So also, and I think Japan has this, and I think Singapore stepped up. Venetian stepped up and said, we're in Singapore. We need to bring top class food and beverage. We need to bring top of the market ballrooms and everything else. So they stepped up and did it and delivered on an unbelievable level. MGM's going to have the same issue in Japan. I mean, I laugh. You go to a 7-Eleven in Tokyo, it looks like a 5-star retail store.
Right.
And they sit there so carefully and pack your stuff up. In America, they throw the bag at you and like, get out of the store. You know, you have to deliver a level of design and service is very high. And I think the customer you're looking to attract in Bangkok, you're going to have the same thing. Those mall experiences, labor inside of the hotels. You can't walk 10 feet without eating another employee. So you really need to deliver. It's not, the opportunity is one thing. You know, people always joke with me, can you design a nightclub? I'm like, can you operate one? Because it's literally a lot harder.
That's an interesting one. Can you operate one? Because yes, most of the nightclubs are, I mean, it's the same guys that run multiple nightclubs, right? I mean, you know, when I think of the Miami scene, the New York City, it's the same guys that basically run multiple nightclubs, etc. And then everybody thinks like, oh, this club is great, that club is great, and then they're all the same owner. So, but I have any, right?
There's not that many. In America, there's not. But then when you look at this stuff that you're seeing in Bangkok, you're seeing a one-off cafe that is one of the most spectacular visual places you'll ever see, or a small nightclub delivered on a smaller scale. In America, we take everything, throw it in a Xerox machine, and blow it up so it could fit 10,000 people. You know, you're talking about experiences there that are not, you know, small to mid-size at best. And they're just wonderful. They're stuff you haven't seen. So when you really need to focus in on a customer like that, not only your nightclub, your food, your beverage, your hotels, your service needs to be top notch. You're in Asia. Asia's service is significantly better than most places in the West. Number of employees work. The number of employees, how they're delivering the service. I was at the St. Regis the other day. I'm waiting online. This gentleman starts helping me, pulls me aside, starts helping me. Then he gives me his card. He's general manager. He's a general manager of the hotel, and he's checking me in. Good luck if you ever saw the general manager of a hotel in America. You're not going to happen. He certainly is not talking to a hotel guest waiting online and helping them the line move quicker. But that's so common in Thailand and places like that. I think there's real upside there. Bangkok locations give me an issue. I do worry about location because traffic is a little difficult. I'm a little leery of the location where it's going to be. But I think you could deliver something there that is not ever been seen before. It's such a free and open place.
You know, when you start thinking about what made Vegas and how politically, let's say, intertwined the politics of you know, the United States, but then specifically Nevada, then Las Vegas City, then you know, and how they basically work with one another to really boost it. I have not seen that in other than Macau probably and of Singapore. I'd say a bit of Singapore because it's still not the same.
Well, it's the idea of putting a casino there, and then all of a sudden it could generate additional. You bring in a Formula One, you bring in the wheel. You could do a lot of land, adding land and expanding the city. Vegas has a convention authority, which everybody gives money to. It is incredibly successful. That's what brings the Raiders. That's what brings Formula One. And we all play well together. All the casinos are connected that you can get from one to the other. It's not like Macau. So everybody knows our business is tourism. We recently had a government shutdown of the TSA workers that work at the airport.
Sure.
Businesses all over the city are running there, giving them food cards so they can have something to eat, going there, raising money for them. We know how important tourism is.
Right.
I come in at 11 o'clock at night. I'm shot. I've been in business all day long. And the people are bouncing off the walls in the plane, drinking and having a good time and singing songs. All I want to do is go to sleep.
Yeah.
But you shut your mouth because you know they're the lifeblood of what's keeping the city going. So every city should focus a little more on that.
Wow.
Our convention authority markets the city. It just brings everything in. Sure.
Especially nowadays with the new generation, right? Because the new generation is all about an experience, right? They're far more about the experience than about buying a luxury good. And luxury within that experience is going to be quite important. Right?
Yes.
Because, people take a lot of pictures. They want to, be around unique things.
Yeah.
So what is it that the governments can do more in order to basically get to that level, get to up, their game in order to attract?
I think Vegas does a really good job identifying who your customers are,
right.
What those specific customers want. It's not only by interest, but it's about their ability to spend and what they can spend. Mm-hmm. So right now we have a little bit of an interesting thing where the numbers of people coming to Vegas is actually going down.
Right.
The gaming
because everybody's talking about the fact that financially, Vegas is not in a good shape, and the biggest is
completely true. But what is happening is you have guys going to see a football game, going to see a hockey game. It's the most expensive hockey ticket to buy, and on the resale market, the most expensive. Same thing with the Raiders. So you have now brought in a better level of customer with the sports. The Raiders, half the stadium would be the color of the opposing team.
Yeah.
But you have now brought in a higher level of customer. And we've done it for years through food and beverage, through nightclubs. You have some of the best restaurants in the country, chefs from all over the world. You have the same thing with the nightclubs. So, at one point it was golf. We were selling a lot of golf. We still sell families, but, families belong over here. So the separation of customer, the attraction of customer, when I work with a lot of clients, trying to get them to understand that and what that really means, and that, yes, you want that person in the property, you want this, you want that. I get leery about sometimes having children in gaming resorts. You don't know, you really don't need them. You don't want them. They're not going to help you. Anything you build for children is not going to make as much money. Just using it that as one way of looking at it.
Right.
You're not going to make enough money in an arcade or some little mini golf thing as I would attracting you to my property and having you spend money there.
They sit longer at the tables. They don't eat as fast.
Exactly.
Expensive. The experience is not the same. So it's more adult entertainment as such.
Yes.
The beaches. The normal standard. All inclusive, whatever holidays. Now let's talk a little bit about all inclusivity in Las Vegas, which is now starting to pop up because everybody's complaining about the enormous expense. Right? They start charging for parking in Las Vegas. They start charging. Here in Macau, most of the things are still free. So, people walk in, you drive into the garage, you basically park your car, you walk out. A lot of things can still be experienced without spending the money. And then you spend a bit more on, the food. You spend a bit more on, let's say the floor in order to gamble, etc. And, that holistic experience, still makes it feel like, okay, I spent this amount of money and I'm okay. Whereby in Las Vegas nowadays, it's becoming so expensive. If you can, for one person, get away with spending less than $100, that's not easy.
All those casinos at the time were developed by individual smaller companies.
Right.
And then the conglomerates, the Caesars and the MGM ended up buying everything in. And they instituted programs across all the properties.
Right.
And I think the big miss was, I'm coming to Las Vegas with $1,000 in my pocket. How you want to take that from me is up to you. But you want me to spend $30 a night to be in a parking garage.
Yeah.
That is your least attractive way for me to spend money. And you're happy to take my money.
Yeah.
Why don't you give me so I'm not coming with $1,030. I'm coming with $1,000. That's it.
Right.
So don't you want me to spend my money on fun, exciting things that I can't do anywhere else in this world?
That's such a
Jim Murin made the worst mistake ever. He said, well, every city charges for parking.
Yeah.
We're not every city, Jim. We're Las Vegas.
Right.
That's the difference. We are.
Well, I like the analogy that you make. $1,000 I spent. If I spent 3% already on parking per per night, let's say 3 nights, that's $90.
Yeah.
That's almost 10% gone.
Gone.
And I have nothing in return for it. I have nothing to show for it. I just know that my car is parked. That's it. I don't even know if it's parked safely. But we all know Las Vegas is relatively safe compared to a lot of other cities in America. At $90, I could have a beautiful dinner. I could have seen a show. I could have, spent some money on the floor and basically, well, with $90, I'd say on average, I probably would get about half an hour minimum play out of it. Whatever the members are, whichever game I was playing, etc. So, there are different experiences. How do they justify it to themselves? Because they think people come with more money? But as you said, that's not the case.
And I'm paying $12 for Starbucks instead of $6, what it cost me at home. I'm paying $19 for a Budweiser instead of whatever I'm paying in my city.
Yeah.
Most cities. I mean, if you
Of course.
So all of a sudden, everything is costing them more money.
Right.
So it's been predicted Vegas might have a little bit of a struggle this summer, gas prices, the economy in the U.S., whatever you want to say. So now they're doing these all-inclusive. So now I'm spending $300. I get 2 nights, parking, resort fees, all included, 3 meals at various different restaurants I identify, and 1 or 2 shows, for the couple of nights. So now, I come with my $1,000, my $300. Let's say I'm coming with my $300, and I can say I got $700 to gamble, and now I'm done. And that's what this is going to cost me.
Right.
And when we used to go to Vegas, food, beverage was all so cheap. We just wanted to get you
the $3.99 buffet.
Yeah, exactly. We just wanted to get you there gambling.
Yeah.
So I think they're talking about these all-inclusives for the summertime.
Yeah.
I think they're going to find them to be pretty popular, probably stay a lot longer.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to find that once you lock in my costs, I have that $700, probably spend a little bit on maybe a different restaurant or spend a little bit on retail.
Yeah.
And then maybe I will hit the tables. Maybe I will spend more money on the casino because I have more money.
Right.
And I think it's going to make a big difference. And they need to do something in some of these lesser properties that aren't offering as more up-to-date experience as some of the
So, I'd imagine, Elijah, whatever, is not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's purely
It's the low
3/4 hour,
But that's fine. Listen,
absolutely.
30 years ago, I was in those properties.
Yeah.
I was spending my money, and I was happy as can be.
Yeah.
You would think, Bellagio Wynn must be the most visited properties.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people feel they don't belong in those properties because the pricing is way out of their
Right.
So why would I?
It makes them feel small.
Yeah. Why would I go there? So if
I'm not the king there. I
Yeah.
want to be the king in the 3-star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the problem is these big companies, they push you. If you gamble, you're a rated person.
Yeah.
And they start to push you around.
Right.
You might want to gamble in Bellagio, but they're going to be like, yeah, we're not going to give you much at Bellagio, but if you go to our other property, we'll give you all, free meals and free rooms.
Right.
So they make that decision for you, which I think really affected customers too. I know my friend loves Bellagio. They would push him at the time, MGM owned Mirage. So they push him to the Mirage. And he said, well, I don't want to be in the Mirage. I want to be in Bellagio.
Yeah,
and if you give me less, I still want to be in Bellagio. Let me be in Bellagio.
So I want to be able to tell people I'm in the Bellagio.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of issues like that. These big conglomerates have kind of taken away some of the.
But everything is financed nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically, they're corporations very well run by, let's say the accountants, as we call it, and the lawyers. And at the same token, it's like, where's my personal touch, right? A lot of the people that used to be very good at it are just not, they were let go and they are not, they're not there anymore. And I mean, everybody has stories of, the old Las Vegas, where, people would come and they would be, they could really still meet, let's say, the original owners and then feel really special if, they got some attention.
And I think the separation of those people making decisions, they're getting further and further away from the common man.
Yeah.
And they think everything is Wynn and Bellagio, where the common man might visit those properties, might have dinner there, but they might not be able to afford to be, to stay there and everything else. Exactly. And nowadays with the youth, it's a Michelin-starred restaurant or a New York Times restaurant. My kids look at Yelp. Everything is Yelp. If it's not on Yelp, it doesn't exist. So that's how they're making their decisions.
Right.
So you need to
start thinking. And they do the number of likes, right? And the number of comments.
And the influencers that tell them to be there. So they have to think totally different about how to attract that. And those kids are much more experiential. You and I will sit in a cafe for an hour and a half, chit-chat back and forth, watch the world go by, and we'll be as happy as can be. Right. Their simulation needs to be a lot higher than that. It's very funny. Sometimes decisions they're getting further and further away from the common man.
Yeah, yeah.
And they think everything is Wynn and Bellagio,
Yeah.
where the common man might visit those properties, might have dinner there, but they might not be able to afford to be, to stay there and everything else.
Exactly.
And nowadays with the youth, oh, it's a Michelin-starred restaurant or their New York Times restaurant. My kids look at Yelp. Everything is Yelp. If it's not on Yelp, it doesn't exist. So that's how they're making their decisions.
Right.
So you need to
And they
start
do it on the
thinking,
number of likes, right? And the number
Yes.
of comments.
and the influences that tell them to be there. So you have to think totally that. And those kids are much more experiential. You and I will sit in a cafe for an hour and a half, chit chat back and forth, watch the world go by, and we'll be as happy as can be.
Right.
Their simulation needs to be a lot higher
Yeah.
than that. They think everything is Wynn and Bellagio,
Yeah.
where the common man might visit those properties, might have dinner there, but they might not be able to afford to be, And nowadays with the youth, oh, it's a Michelin-starred restaurant or their New York Times restaurant. My kids look at Yelp. Everything is Yelp. If it's not on Yelp, it doesn't exist. So that's how they.
Right.
So you need to
And they
start
do it on the
thinking.
number of likes, right? And the number
Yes.
of.
So that's how they.
Right.
So you need to
And they
start
do it on the
thinking.
number of likes, right? And the number
Yes.
of.
It's interesting. I
Yeah.
think, we talk about service and how service, especially in America, is really dying.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
removing service everywhere. You check yourself in. My kids, I hate it. I don't like anything about it. I like to talk to somebody. I like to see what's going on.
Awesome.
My kids love just, ordering something, getting a bag and walking away. God knows what's in that bag, whether they got your order right or not.
Right.
So they love a lot more of that touchless type of service.
Right.
But I think it's just heading in a bad direction. I think you need to have service. You need to have interaction.
Yeah.
And that's not only in hospitality, but it's a global thing coming out of COVID and some other thoughts about that. So I think we need to get back to service. I think we need to get back to that that attention. They love experiential things. And I think we're trying to replace experiences with video and technology and things like that.
Yeah.
And we're not thinking about that stuff just doesn't happen automatically. A lot of it's curated.
Yeah.
Which means you have to have employees curating things,
Sure.
making events, doing marketing, and getting you there and making you have fun.
Yeah.
And I think we need to focus a little more on that.
I mean, it feels a little bit like, okay, it might go, because technology is new, robotics are going to come in, the humanoids are going to start talking to you, etc. Everybody's going to get excited and say like, oh, this is great, this is the future, etc. But I'm like, well, fast forward 10, 15 years, we have a lot of them. And then everybody says, where are the people? I want the people back.
Yeah.
Right? I think we're going to go through that type of a cycle.
I think you are. And like we have a lot of immersive spaces nowadays.
Yeah.
There was like 7 or 8 of them in Vegas, Van Gogh and some other type of
Right.
technology driven things.
Yeah.
Half of them are closing because they become one-line jokes. How many times do you want to go there? Probably just once.
Yeah.
And if you go to a restaurant where you have a great waiter,
Yeah.
and they really walk you through everything and make recommendations, you'll go back there
Right.
because you had such a good time.
Yeah.
But when I'm just sitting back and watching this movie and everything happening around me, it becomes one visit and that's it. So how many times can you get in there? So half of those places have closed. Others have managed to market better or be better, and they get the people to keep coming. But those aren't repetitive. They're not repetitive things, and that's the thing. We need to figure out how to get that repetition back. One of the big things is the young people don't believe in loyalty programs, airport, airline, hotel loyalty programs. They're not into that. They look at it as getting a free bottle of water. They don't see the upgraded rooms. They don't see the attentive service.
Right.
So that's something we have to bridge there. They're not getting it, but are we doing a good job making sure they are understanding and getting,
Oh, that's a good point. So going back again to the different governments, the different, let's say, decision makers that are going to determine if, there will be another Las Vegas, right? I mean, Las Vegas, Macau was, 2 on their own. Atlantic City, is going to have a very hard time surviving, with New York opening up with its own casino. So what is the advice to the politicians in order to say, guys, understand that it's a lifeline, right? It's how do you get people into a city? And it's not just about having the gaming there, but it's also having the right hospitality, having the right entertainment, the right restaurant. What do you need to do in order to make that happen? Not just you have the quantity of customers, but also you have people, love to go to New York because of the variety of food. They love to go to Hong Kong because of the variety of food. It's a very important driver, but, because of their strength as a metropolis, they've been able to really get the investments to come with it. How do you do that in smaller places? How do you do that in other areas that just don't offer that?
That's where it all falls apart. There was a famous casino executive. He went after one of the licenses in Boston at the time, spent $80 to $100 million going after this license,
right.
Promised to build roads, promised to improve infrastructure. He goes, if I was a company building widgets, you'd build a road for me. You would give me tax breaks. Here, you're dictating higher taxes. So, and you're not becoming a partner with me. You look at me as something that's just a cash register.
Yeah.
But if I was, Tesla went into, Nevada, other companies are going into Texas. You give them tremendous tax breaks. You give them tremendous opportunities. You identify beautiful land for them to go on. Here, you give us the worst land your city has. So nowadays in America, it's very difficult. You need to make sure you're in business in the right state.
Right.
Because if you're in business in some of these states, they just look at you like you're making money and I'm going to tax you more.
Right.
The tax rate started at 25. It's now over 40.
Right.
Or you're going to bid on a license where you have to outbid your partner for how much tax you're going to give. Becomes very dangerous. They constantly change the goal line. One of the states has taxed everything so hard that they're like, oh, okay, let's come up with a new tax. Every sports bet, you have to pay a tax on. Right. And you're getting taxed on your winnings and everything else no matter what. So they just look at it as a money grab, and they're not looking at it as a partnership and how can I help this casino make money? Because then I'm going to make money too. If I was a hotel in the middle of the city, you would be helping me. Yeah. But I'm a casino, so you tax.
You think I make enough money, etc. But just out of your experience, I mean, casinos in generally. If you design a casino, do you have a particular EBITDA number in mind, or a particular,
there's always
a return that needs to come there? Because many times when I look at how properties are being designed, you don't really know if you exactly will get what you expect, right? So how do you get that balance right with regards to how much to spend and how much to basically not go to?
Yeah, that's a little hard. Obviously, there's tons of studies. My slot machine's going to make this. My hotel room, I have retail, I have beverage. It's all going to make this much money. Yeah. So you try to use that. You try to stay to that.
And are you pretty good at that?
We're very good with that. We work with a lot of companies that do that, and we're very good at staying to that program. And I like to be strict about that. I say, guys, this is what you are going to make, and you based it on this. So this is our line. Right. And then what happens is we're creative people, so we come up with a really cool idea, and it costs whatever, $50 million. I think, run your numbers. I think we can make, X amount of dollars. Okay, we can afford $50 million in extra expenditure, and then you hope it comes through. And then that's us on our side, always trying to sell something that's bigger, brighter, prettier. On the executive side, that room is nice, but I'd like to make that room a little bit bigger, and I'd like to make it a little bit nicer. And then they start to, on their end, you said you were going to spend $1,000 a square foot. Yeah. Now you're pushing it to $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. So that starts to make it get a little bit higher. So there's always a lot of things going on there. And you have design and construction teams that don't want to tell the owner that that's really going to go up. You're, really going to drive a bunch up. So it's a little bit of a balance. Yeah. Hopefully you have an owner that you can have some open conversations with. And is it really worth it for us to spend money there to do it? Did you realize now that maybe we missed a customer that exists that wants something nicer, therefore we should go after it? Exactly. The hardest part to me, is somebody has to be McDonald's, somebody has to be Outback, and somebody has to be your 5-star restaurant. Right. And you need to know which one you are. Yeah. All three of those businesses make a lot of money, and you would love to own all of them. Yeah. Don't always think you need to own a 5-star business. I have regular people that, I want to build a nightclub. Well, it's so long for your property. What ego thing is driving you to say, I need a nightclub? It's
Yeah.
not, none of your customers want that.
Yeah.
You know, just build them their little food court, build them this.
A bit of a lounge area, a bit of a
Yeah,
bar.
you know, this, have a
Yeah.
great players club
yeah,
program. Really focus in on taking care of your customers, and they're going to be as happy as can be.
Yeah.
You know, so just know your customer, know who you are, and deliver it. We have great 4-star, 3-star properties in Las Vegas that deliver unbelievable experiences.
Is there anything that you would like to, you know, basically leave to the listener with regards to where is it going to go? What would you like to see? And how would you like the different authorities to act? In an ideal scenario where I think entertainment is so incredibly important, and I keep on emphasizing that, you know, because there's not a city in the world, not a town in the world, not an area in the world that doesn't need it, because it is the lifeblood of why we're working hard, why we want to earn a bit more, why we want to, you know, have that time in order to really experience it.
Escapism. And I think we're losing what escapism is. I have a week off or a weekend off. I want to go someplace and be taken out of the world I live in. I want to go someplace and experience things that I don't normally do in my own place that I live.
Right.
And I think we're losing some of that. You don't always have to go to a beach resort. You don't have to go to a big city. But what can you do? We used to have, we still have in Vegas we had a very unique bar, and we also have a very unique coffee place.
Right.
And I take people to this coffee place, and they absolutely love it. They call it a Korean coffee house.
Right.
And everything about the design and the coffee and the pastries is very unique, and they all love it. And everybody I take there gets blown away by it. And they're like, wow, what, you know, I'm like, because you've convinced everybody Starbucks is the greatest thing in the world, which it's not at all. We need to deliver more unique things like that. Tiki bar is another thing. That was a bar name.
Yes.
You know, Tiki bar.
Yes.
You know, you and I, we've been out, we'll drink wine, maybe we'll drink a whiskey or something. To go to a Tiki bar and have some banana, this or that thing we've never had. I love people that are wine connoisseurs or something else.
Exactly.
Drinking this crazy concoction that they come up with.
Yes.
Not pretentious, it's a gastropub with its, with this big beverage money, menu. It's just this crazy little place. And everybody I take there absolutely loves it. I'm like, this is what we need more of, unique experiences. Stop with.
Well, what I like about that, just as a point, is I like to see less corporates, smaller companies, many more individualism. And as a result, we get decentralization even within assets, even within, entertainment, even within, let's say, an environment where, I just have a lot of choice, right? Instead of just going to one big. We need the corporates. We need, let's say, the massive, rooms and investments and, let's say, the luxury, etc.
Yeah.
But we also need far more individualism.
And when we started this conversation, about Thailand.
Yes,
exactly. Cafes.
Yes.
You're talking about 2 or 3 people that get together that come up with an unbelievable concept.
Yeah.
Those are the people I want to develop stuff for me for the first or second time. I don't want to get them when they're, multimillionaires and they're only look at $100 million project.
Right.
I want this homey little fun thing that I never experienced anywhere else. And this Tiki bar and this coffee shop, everybody I take is just completely blown away by it. Didn't cost any more money than the regular bar.
Right.
Nothing about it costs more money than what I'm normally doing.
Exactly.
But it is just the most unique place, and I'm taken away for a little while. And it's just wonderful. And that's the stuff we need to bet on people that have a vision, have a passion for what they do, and can deliver that. And we need to get more of those people together in one place and doing fun things and getting owners to take that chance instead of, just hire Gordon Ramsay, it'll be successful.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
boring,
Exactly.
so.
Once you experience one, you experience the other.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to focus in on, guys. Let's think about it a little differently.
Correct. But really appreciate you being
Thank you,
here.
Shazam.
Thank you very much, and look forward to hear more about, let's say, what you're going to be developing,
Absolutely.
how you're going to be developing it, and hopefully we're going to have a new, let's say, entertainment area that we really can talk about, which might not be on the radar yet.
Absolutely. Have a great time with the ship. Enjoy the rest of it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Harpinion brings candid conversations with leaders and experts shaping gaming's political and regulatory future. Follow or visit harpinion.com for more episodes and updates.